what's up? Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of On the Road with Leah. By the time you're watching this, this will have been my 18th consecutive day of Bikram yoga, and I lost another 5 pounds this week. So far, a grand total of 15 pounds in 3 weeks, just from adding some Bikram yoga and watching my calories. I auditioned this week for QVC. As some of you might remember, a few months back I had auditioned for a contract year-round hosting position. I didn't get that, but they called me in for a guest host spot. So it went really well. The casting director recognized me in the lobby, said hello to me, and was a lot more chatty than he was when I auditioned for him a few months ago in LA. I don't know if it was just because circumstances or just felt a little bit more comfortable with me, but it went really well, and fingers crossed. Finally got in to see Harry cast. Diane Harry is the top film casting director here in the Philadelphia area. If it's shot in Philly, she most likely cast it. And I've been trying to get in to see her for months now. She does a monthly open call. I was at a film festival during her October casting call, and November's casting call was canceled. And so December's call, you had to call a hotline number the Saturday prior to the casting call. It took me 45 minutes with 3 people redialing the number to finally get through and get an appointment, because it's an open call, but it's an appointment slotted open call for principal casting. So I went in and saw her, and I had a really great experience. I got to do a monologue for Diane herself, and she asked me about my experience in LA. She was impressed with my credits, and she even said that she thought she had seen me on a few things, and that she had been a fan of Deadwood, so she believed that she had recognized me from my work on Deadwood. So that was really cool. So that's about it. I want to leave you with the rest of the interview I did with local actress Rachel Costa, who portrays Betsy Ross down at the Betsy Ross house in Philadelphia. And
you've actually, I mean, you've been interviewed on the news, you've been on some special events, so that's kind of got to be a neat thing for you to network and meet people that way.
I'm lucky because our company, the company Historic Philadelphia Inc. has our own public relations person, and the house itself, the Betsy Ross house, we have our own public relations woman as well. So from all these different things, there's always people trying to get us on TV or on news. So I've done a lot of different things. You know, there's articles in the newspaper. Last year there was an RV show here in Philadelphia, so one of our local news, the morning programs, wanted Betsy inside one of the RVs marveling at the technologies of the future, so that was different. But getting to do all the different things when you get to see the school kids coming and they're able to put that on TV is always really nice to do.
So you also mentioned, though, that you're in the upholstery shop. Now, did you have to learn to sew, or did you already know how to sew beforehand?
I know how to sew going into it, so that was a plus. But when they said, oh, there's an opening for Betsy, and we were wondering if you would be interested, and I was like, oh, well, I know how to sew, so that's perfect. They were like, oh, well, that's good, but it's not necessary. But that was, you know, close to 3 years ago. But now that the upholstery shop is actually up and running, if they needed to hire a new Betsy, they better know how to sew, because now that's a really big part of what we do. The question visitors ask is, are you really sewing that? And so when it comes from a kid, they're really fascinated, like, wow, you're really sewing that? But when it comes from an adult, I want to say, do I not look capable of being able to sew that? But they always really find it interesting when they see, oh wow, like this is someone who really is sewing, and every single stitch is just by hand with needle and thread. So things take a while to make in the upholstery shop, but they're always really nice when it comes out. I'm always very proud of anything I make. And then sometimes people always ask, well, can you make me something? Or are you going to sell that flag in the gift shop? But no, I'm not. It costs a lot of money for this flag. So I can tell you that in the upholstery shop, making one flag, and this one's about 5 feet by 3 feet. This took close to 4 months just to get this one flag finished from start to finish. So it's a lot of hard work that goes into it. Over 5,000 stitches just for a flag this size. So you can imagine how hard Betsy was working too to get flags done, and her flags were even bigger, about 7 feet by 7.5 feet. So
without electricity,
exactly, candlelight's all you had. So you get to really appreciate our modern conveniences when you do something like that.
Recently also on Wheel of Fortune.
I was, which was really exciting. Didn't win anything but $1,000. But I got to talk about being Betsy, and Pat and Vanna were actually really excited because a couple years back, before I had started at the house, they had been there to visit because they were shooting episodes in Philadelphia. And so everyone at the house, the director, a couple of the workers, they were like, Vanna came here, she loved the house, she brought her kids back, she was really nice, so make sure you tell her that you work here. And so they actually mentioned it at the end of the show because apparently Vanna really liked the house and had a really nice time. So that was great because we actually got national publicity that way. But it's always fun to see people's reactions when you tell them what you do for a living, because especially people on the East Coast, they really are like, oh, you're kidding, you get to be Betsy Ross. So it's always neat to see.
So for other actors out there that are watching, what would be, if they wanted to learn more about this, or maybe they wanted to become a historical interpreter themselves, where do they start?
Well, Historic Philadelphia Inc. is a great company. We're always looking for new people every season. So we do have a website. You can look it up, historicphiladelphia.org. And we work with a lot of different places in the city of Philadelphia. So there's always something new. And as I said, I don't just work at the house. I always have different outside things I'm going to. So it's a great way to not just, oh, I know I have a show this week and then I don't know what's coming up for the next couple months. You really will always have something in. But you could just look up historical interpreters. Places like Colonial Williamsburg, Mount Vernon, that's who works at those places, are historical interpreters. So it's really, there is a market for us out there. And if you like history and you like to perform and you like to educate the public, it's really an interesting field to be in.
Awesome. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode. I will see you next week. As always, live love, love life, and keep rocking. See you soon.